Good evening, members of the league, and welcome to the best 5 minutes of your week. This is 5 happy minutes. I am your host, the owner of the Strong Baddie Cheats, Roger Tiller. I am sporting the Atlanta Braves home attire today, actually a Robert Fick number 7. So I want to make sure to show that off. Joining me this evening, as you may have already known, is going to be the Stinky Train, as I'm calling him now, based on his new theme song. We have the owner of the Stinky Train, Eric Hemholt. Good evening, Eric.
Good evening. I'm going off the rails on a stinky train. You spoiled my opening statement there.
Sorry about that. We're going to get right into it tonight. What the purpose of this evening's show is, and I don't know how long it'll be, probably not one of our longer shows, is we're going to take a look at the side bets. Those have heated up, at least the talk about them has heated up over the past week or so, so much that Eric put a spreadsheet together to share with the league to keep track of all the side bets. Just before we went on, I was told that one of those bets is off due to a little miscommunication. Scott was involved. Surprise. We're going to take a look at those. I don't know if everybody's had a chance to take a look at them, so I'm going to quick, well, instead of running through them now, we'll go one by one, and maybe Eric can introduce them, or I'll introduce it, and Eric can talk a little bit about it. And if anybody is watching, Lori, who's in at least 5 of these bets, if you've got any questions or comments to add, go ahead and we'll get them out there just so you can defend yourself if need be. But Eric, so the first bet up on top, well, let's quick go over the one that isn't happening anymore, because I think it's the oldest bet, side bet for the 2016 season. It was Eric, Lori, Mike, and Scott, and initially the way it's written out, and was misunderstood, of course, is if Lori finishes last between all 4 owners, he owes all of you a 5th. If he doesn't finish last between everybody, whoever he beats would owe him, and everyone that beat him, a 5th. Seemed pretty straightforward to me. I'm not sure where the confusion came in, but that doesn't matter anymore. So I'll let you kind of add anything to that you want.
The confusion was in the 3 of us besides Lori understood it to be best regular season record. And Lori just thought that he had to beat one of us just one time out of his 4 options. I could get all statsy on you and say that even if he has like an 18% chance of beating each one of us each time, he has over like a 60% chance of beating one of us out of the 4 opportunities. So just miscommunication. I'm confident we'll get a different bet, a similar bet done. But as of right now, I believe that one's off the table.
Okay, fair enough. And reading even the way it's written here, I could see where there would be confusion on either side. And obviously, assuming that it's just in Lori's position beating one of you in one game, changing it from that to finishing ahead of somebody in the standings is a pretty big difference, and vice versa. So that makes sense. Yeah. Next one down, we got actually the next 2 involve Lori and Mike. The first one, Lori needs to make the playoffs to win the bet, and the bet is half gallon. I'm assuming if Lori does not make the playoffs, then Mike is awarded the half gallon, of course.
Yeah. So this one and the next one, Lori needs to beat Samuels both times to win.
This is Samuels on both these. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's both Lori and Mike. And it might just be a half gallon total, all or nothing. I don't exactly know. They might want to clarify me on that. But I just want to point out that this was done night of the G Rapids race, and so I want to take at least partial responsibility for putting this bet together because that's why they were together. It's because of me and Ferguson and Durst for putting on that awesome time. From a argument of state, I actually like Lori's side of the bet a little bit on both of these. I think he's got a lot better team than Samuels, and I think he's the best bet actually to make the playoffs besides the top 5 that I've called the top 5 recently. So I actually like Lori to win one, if not both of these bets.
Okay. So, and maybe I need to clarify for a minute. So these bets are with Mike Mostrom, but the second bet here that is with Mike Mostrom refers to Laurie beating Mike Samuels twice during the season.
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay. All right. So,
Yes.
so Samuels, if Samuels beats Laurie, then maybe Mostrom will share some of that with him. But we'll see.
Hey, did you see that Roddy White touchdown from Matt Ryan?
That's the second time they connected tonight.
That's number 2.
All right, let's take a look here. Moving on down, we have Eric and Scott. So let's hear. Eric's, this is where I get confused. So I'm just going to read it word for word. Eric's wide receiver 3 through 5, so I'm assuming 3, 4, and 5, versus Scott's 3 through 5, through 16 games, most points, and it's for a 5th. And then basically, so what we've got here, so there's a long list of guys for both you. Does this include all of these guys, or you're picking the 3 from each of your rosters?
If we could pick the 3, I would be so much happier with that. But unfortunately, we're not doing that. It's whoever finishes 3rd, 4th, and 5th out of our list of guys on our roster currently. So
Okay.
I've been in trade talks. If I get rid of Emmanuel Sanders, that doesn't mean that I don't get to use him. These are the guys I'm going in with and what Scott's going in with. If my guys stay healthy, I love this bet for me. But AJ Green and Calvin Johnson are not the strongest best options to play all 16 games. So that may hurt me, and that's why Scott did the deal. I like my talent, so that's why I did the deal. I love this bet. I think it's an awesome bet.
Well, it's definitely. I mean, it's an intriguing bet because you're locking your players in now in April, and the season doesn't start until September. So yeah, these guys could be anywhere then. Well, I mean, Reggie Wayne says he's going to play somewhere. You know, somebody has to sign him first, even if he wants to play. Well, I'm sure I know you want him to retire. But so you're locking these players in now. And then when the end of the season comes, you're going to find your 3rd through 5th receiver versus Scott's 3rd through 5th based on how they finish fantasy points, I'm assuming, straight up. Okay. All right. Well, that's, that involves a lot of guys potentially. Okay. Moving on down. Next bet we have is Eric and Lori. We have for Eric, we have Deshaun Jackson going against Mike Wallace, 16 games on the line, another 5th.
I think I saw, or Durr saw, and he told me about this. Mike Wallace went in something like the 12th round of CBS's mock draft for just their 2015 season, which is what this bet is really all about. Deshaun, not exactly a PPR machine. He's still a top 15, top 20 wide receiver. I have seen no way that I lose this bet unless Deshaun gets injured.
Well, yeah, I mean that's where it comes into play. And Wallace, he is up in Minnesota now with Bridgewater, right?
Correct.
Okay, so he's playing indoors. I guess that's something for him. But yeah, I mean it would seem from the onset that this hinges completely on Deshaun Jackson's health, like you said, an injury, and all bets are off the table. But otherwise, I would, and maybe that's what Lori's banking on. Could just be banking on an injury and trying to get lucky. Let's see here. Take a look down. Next bet, we have Doug making his only appearance in the side bets. Doug and Eric. So we've got AJ Green and Travis Kelce for Eric versus Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham, he always comes up. And Brandon Marshall. 16 games, $20 on the line. Pretty straightforward here. We got the. Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that might look pretty good for Doug. I'm curious how Jimmy Graham is going to do in Seattle, but if he stays consistent the way he has been, that could be a good lock for Doug, I think.
Okay, so your money's on Doug on this one, which is fine.
I mean, just looking at it right here.
Your opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jimmy Graham's a big question mark. If he was still in New Orleans, I don't think it would be as big of a question mark. But I think he has, should have very big upside. And being in Seattle, I think he may even have more upside than if he had stayed in New Orleans. He's a bigger risk for how well he's going to perform this year, but bigger upside, in my opinion, in Seattle.
Okay, and we talked a little bit about people arguing their decisions on here and how we don't like that. Quickly going to do that. I think that Graham will finish better than Kelsey, but who's going to throw the ball to Brandon Marshall on the Jets? That's where I think I blow him out of the water. The difference between AJ Green and Brandon Marshall is 10 times the difference between Jimmy Graham and Kelsey, in my opinion, and that's why I did it. Oh, Julio Jones from Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan is having himself a game back there.
Yeah, I definitely see what you're saying about the difference between AJ Green and Brandon Marshall, especially with Marshall being up in New York now with the Jets, not the football giants. But yeah, I guess, again, I think that's where the potential upside for Jimmy Graham in Seattle comes into play. If he outperforms what he's done in New Orleans, which I think is possible there. Again, I think bigger risk, bigger reward in Seattle. That may close the gap on the difference between AJ Green and Brandon Marshall. But, I've got the license plate for him, so who wants to listen to me? Let's take a look. Lori and Scott, last side bet we have involves Lori and Scott. We've got Lori is putting Latimer on the line versus John Brown for a beer. So this, I believe, was the last side bet that was agreed to recently. Yep. And it would kind of show that Lori may be getting side bet fatigue because this one only involves a beer. And I think actually I should take that back. He did put out a list this evening about I think he was ranking players 1 to 10, and Scott guessed that it had to do with hottest wife, and that was for a beer at the auction, light beer. Hey,
hang on, I want to interrupt you one more time. Matt Ryan with another touchdown pass.
Are they playing a scrimmage or what's going on?
They're playing Giovanni Bernard's Cincinnati Bengals.
Well, that's obviously not realistic then.
Right. Yeah. Just a couple quick points on this bet. Because it is only a beer, whoop-de frickin' do. But Scott putting more alcohol on the line with John Brown, losing a fifth to me last year wasn't enough. He now potentially wants to lose a fifth or a beer to Lori. Although I like John Brown a little bit better than Latimer this year, even though Denver says Latimer's going to line up outside. I still think that it's going to be Sanders and Demarius mostly.
You hope it's Sanders.
Well, yeah, that too.
Well, and I guess at this point, now that Scott has a beer coming to him at the auction, if if he loses this, he can just keep that on ice and give it back to Lori at the end of the season. So no harm, no foul. I was really disappointed that I have no questions, especially I got to imagine Lori's watching and nothing in. So that's just let that be noted, my disappointment. So we have no questions. We've gone over the bets. Everybody should be up to speed, whether you watch now or watch later on YouTube or Google+. But those are the side bets so far. As we said, the first bet, the four-way between Eric, Lori, Mike, and Scott is off the table presently, but it may be modified, may come back in a different form that makes all parties happy. Yep.
And I'd just like to quickly point out that every single one of the bets includes at least one 7-star. The others are just kind of lacking when it comes to participation. I just want to continue to point that out.
All right. Well, and I do notice behind you there that the Bengals do have 14 points, so I'm guessing that those are both Giovanni Bernard touchdowns.
One of them was AJ Green, I know, also on my team. And I don't know who had the other one. But Matt Ryan, 389 yards and at least 4 touchdowns. So looking strong. Although Julio Jones, 7 receptions, 152 yards, and at least 2 of those touchdowns.
So maybe what we need to do, we have enough time before the real regular season starts. Maybe we lock in rosters for a week and we just run an entire season on the Hurricane.
Oh, you are speaking to me. You're speaking my language. I'm all about that. You know what? I'm not even going to wait for rosters to lock. I'm just going to simulate a season tonight, and I'm going to spit out the results.
There you go. We can. I mean, when it comes playoff time, and when it comes Super Bowl time, EA Sports is always running the Madden Simulation. They're always trying to figure out who's going to win. So, you've got up-to-date rosters as far as the NFL goes. You run a season, run a 2015 schedule. I think at the beginning of this, I may have said 2016 season for these bets. If I did, I apologize. I meant 2015. But you could run a whole 2015 schedule, put the points together. We'll see where everybody ends up. We could even run regular season, and obviously that would include the playoffs. So we can find out if I can get rid of this stupid license plate frame.
I'm going to give this some serious consideration. I might actually try to do this.
I think I like it. I like it a lot. Speaking of 2015 season points websites, I don't know if everybody has had a chance to check out myfantasyleague.com. You should have received an email from Mike with a link to look at the 2014 and 2015 version or season version. He's going to dig in a bit more. I know one of the questions you and I had, we were a little disappointed to find out that we might have to reset the league every year, and obviously that would be Mike or you doing that. But it was, even though Yahoo shuts down for a period of the off season, everything's still there. It retains our history, and to not be able to have that history all in one spot, even if it is on a different tab, or a different website, I personally don't know that I'm as excited about it, but maybe Mike will be able to find a solution in there, and it'll end up looking different than what we assume it is right now.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. If it's not all there, I enjoy being able to see the history. Although because we use NFL.com the first year, we can't see the first year's history, and that's just gone forever. Should have just listened to me and used Yahoo right away.
Now, in the spreadsheets, we have the only thing in there for history, I believe, is 2014. Do you have the 2013 history on a spreadsheet or anywhere, or was that only on NFL.com and it's gone?
That was only on NFL.com and it's gone because we didn't renew the league, as far as I know, anyway.
Gotcha. I was say because that is one benefit to myfantasyleague.com, as Mike showed, is he can load in the entire previous season, and so if that any of the records from 2013 existed somewhere, we could load those in there, and at least there would be a place to have that history, but never on Yahoo, of course.
Right. Yeah, I know that we have the total points for and points against from 2013, but as far as like an individual breakdown, as far as I know, that's completely lost because we didn't re-up. But
fair enough. All right. Well, no questions. We got through the bets. We did a little side talk. I think this was good. A quick in and out. 19 minutes. Sounds pretty good. I want to thank everybody for listening, watching. Eric for coming on and getting the Bud Light Mixed Ale sponsor. 7 stars. Oh, I was going to mention that as well. There's one 7-star that you will more than likely never see on the side bet, and that's myself. I'm gambling enough away just by paying the league dues 2 years in a row.
Really?
So
you're not interested in potentially doing any side bets?
I mean, they don't excite me. I think most of the guys in there know that they're going to finish or figure they're going to finish in the money. Right now, I'm just trying to get out of the cellar this year. That's my goal, so that I can unload the license plate frame onto somebody, and then we'll see where we are after the 2015 year.
Yeah, but like it doesn't have to be like you're going to make the playoffs or anything like that. But like especially if you're out of it, to say, well, I'll throw out Giovanni Bernard against Latavius Murray against Laurie. He does that for sure. And then once Adrian Peterson signs in Oakland, you're for sure going to win that bet. Just a suggestion.
True. Or maybe I could do something like if it takes Scott more than 2 months to get the trophy to the winner of the league next year, he has to have a license plate for him also. Something along those lines.
I like it.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Eric. Another wonderful 5 minutes, the best 5 minutes of your week, the happy 5 minutes. And we will see everybody next week, probably on Tuesday. I'll let you know. It doesn't have to be Tuesday every week. Sometimes it works out to do it a different day of the week, like tonight. So, all right. Thank you. And we will see everybody later.
Peace.